Welcome to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network with your hostess, Jen Jazyk. Join like-minded real estate investors and accelerate your business towards greatness. You will hear step-by-step strategies for success, interviews with real estate rock stars, and we will dig deep into past projects where we bear it all, including the good, the bad, and some just plain ugly. So get excited. Here's the bestower of badassery herself, the real Jen Jazyk. Listener discretion is advised.
Hi, and welcome back. I'm Jen Jazyk, creator of RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Whoop, whoop. On today's episode, we have a guest that will be sharing their badassery. But before we begin, here is today's badassery bestowment, my little badass gift to you. I begin with a popular Jim Rohn quote. You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. So, take a moment and think about who your 5 people are. Are they happy, ambitious, goal setters? Or are your 5 people gossipers, lazy, always talking about the good old days? I think of these 2 types of people as motors and anchors. Motors are folks that are going somewhere while the anchors just weigh you down. If you have some anchors in your top 5, it's time to cut them loose. Make a conscious effort today to surround yourself with positive and uplifting people who will believe in you and applaud your victories. And I can't think of a better way to introduce today's guest. We have with us Monika Jazyk. This is my first international guest. Yay! So welcome, Monika.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be on this badass podcast.
Wonderful. So tell the listeners a little bit about you.
So I am a wealth builder and a real estate investment specialist and founder of Real Property Investments, where we help real people build real wealth through real estate and alternative investment products.
And I said international. So where are you calling in today from?
I am located in Toronto, Ontario, but we are a global company. We are branches all throughout Canada, the US, and even Australia.
That is awesome. And your specialty is wealth building. So let's get into a little bit of that. Tell us how you increase wealth for your people.
Well, I really love your segue and how you started off this podcast, because I think, the number one step that people take in wealth building is changing their environment and surrounding themselves with positive influences, which allows them to start thinking differently. And when you start thinking differently, you start taking different actions and different steps. If you're with the same old people, like you were talking about, doing the same old things, life never changes. And when we started out investing in real estate, my husband and I, no one in our friend circle or family circle was doing this. We really had to go out and seek a community. And that was the only way that we were able to move forward. And that's actually how we started Real Property Investments. Is we built the community and people came, and it really transformed our lives and helped us transform other people's lives. So I think the first step in wealth building really is to find that community. And that's what we're creating at Real Property Investments, a safe community that provides people with real information that's current, that's relevant, and that just helps real people start building wealth today.
Awesome. So tell me about your real estate background.
Well, it was none. I am like grassroots, self-taught, badass chick.
I love it.
I've always kind of been a do-it-yourselfer kind of person. I have always gone against the grain a little bit because I never really, I guess my badassery here is I never really wanted to accept conventional norms. I've never really been a follower. I never really cared about fitting in. I've always kind of been in that sort of leader of the pack person, really in charge of my life, which has brought me a really fantastic, extraordinary life. And I'm hoping that everyone listening to this podcast is really striving to get like that extraordinary life. I mean, life's just too boring if you're living it normally and living it for other people. And I've made some pretty bold moves, throughout my life. And one of them was I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I know that kind of sounds very generic and boring and not really trailblazing or whatever, but for me, that was a huge decision because it really was putting my family first when I am a real A player, born entrepreneur, and really kind of was living this driven, forward thinking life, and realized I'm selling myself short. I can't parent and work effectively in the same breath. So I kind of took a step back. I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom to raise my kids. I do have 4 kids.
Oh my goodness.
I made this decision when we had 1. I was only in my 20s. And we were also at the start of our financial life too, like responsibilities moving forward. And it really kind of hit home that it was really hard to make money off one salary, or to live off one salary, I should say. The cost of living in Toronto is very expensive. And we continue to have more kids. And I was just really determined to be in charge of the finances. And it didn't take me long to see that traditional financial planning is failing North American society. And we got to do something different. And I started, learning about investing in real estate. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It totally transformed and changed my life.
It's a great
and
book.
Showed me how real estate is the number 1 wealth builder out there. And with that, we just totally self-taught ourselves and recreated our life and went out in the field and started acting, implementing, and transacting in real estate. Now, it wasn't perfect. I mean, like I said, we are self-taught. We had no support. We had to figure all this out on our own. And we made a lot of mistakes, like so many that I wrote a book, Real Estate Mistakes, Our Mistakes, Your Success. And it highlights our first few years as investors. And it was crazy, but we've done hundreds of real estate transactions and all these different strategies. Yes, we made mistakes, but we also have figured things out and created a life of financial freedom for ourselves, for our family. We figured out how to solve a lot of these financial goals through real estate, both active and passive investments. And we never would have done that if we didn't have a coach, not a coach to teach us how to do real estate, but a coach to teach us more on how to plan, our life so we could create our best life. And that's what I really like to help others do. I like to talk to people and figure out what kind of life are we trying to create for yourself? Where are these pain points? How can we solve these problems? And then real estate is the vehicle that helps them do it. It's not a how to do real estate. We have a lot of information. It's more, how can real estate help you live your best life?
So you don't recommend listeners out there to self-teach themselves these things, huh?
I recommend that listeners, if you are seeking information to teach yourselves, bravo. Good for you for at least doing that. It's incredible that at least you are trying to get information. But what are you doing it for? What are you trying to change? The only problem is A, what advice are you receiving from the information? And 2, when people piecemeal their information together, they're often getting a hodgepodge of advice. So if you want to do that, that's fantastic. At least you're kind of getting out of that box and moving forward and making progress. Bravo. I applaud you for that. But I would also advise, to really make sure you have the right information and also have a coach that kind of helps guide you along the way to help you use that information when you put it into action. Because information does nothing until you put it into action. And when you take these real estate tips and you're in the field, you're going to make mistakes. Learning is through doing. If you Google my name, you'll see a zillion articles and that phrase that I'm always saying, learning is through doing. So why go at it your own when you have people who are there to guide you, help you, and hold your hand, and you don't have to make the $1 million of mistakes that we made when we were starting out.
Wow. So when you started out, what were you doing? Were you doing rentals? Were you doing fix and flips? What was your area that you focused on in real estate?
When we started out investing in real estate, we completed over 100 strategies, our very first year alone, all across the nation, Canada and the US, every strategy under the sun simultaneously. We were doing flips, we were doing plazas, we were doing multifamily, single family, land development, everything. It was insane. And we continued that pace for 3 years. I think the next year we had over 200 transactions, and the third year we were at 300 transactions that year. It was crazy. And I thought I was doing the right thing. I had so much information that I was so excited to implement, because we spent almost $100,000 on these real estate courses. We started out with the Rich Dad Poor Dad thing and started out on our own with just buy, rent, hold. We were doing great. And I felt like I needed some training. And I ended up spending a lot of money on this thing. And I'm really grateful for that information I got, because I wouldn't have known all these amazing strategies. But where was my coach when I was in the field? My construction project was going wrong. It's great information, and we had the bravery to implement, but we didn't have the ongoing support to hold our hands and show us the little 2 millimeter changes, like Tony Robbins would say, while we were going through it. Like, that's great that you're going to, flip this property. Have you considered, getting a purchase plus improvement mortgage? So you're not funding $50,000 out of your pocket? No, like I never knew that, So it's just these little tips and tricks and things that were going wrong. And I think a lot of people do this when they invest in themselves, they get over the hump, they say no more. They invest a lot in their financial education, and then they feel this pressure to perform, if they perform at all. What makes me particularly sad is people do spend this amount of money and they still don't have that confidence to go to the next step. They have the information, but they don't have the support. And that's what we're trying to do at Real Property Investments, is offer people real education for a fraction of this cost, that's for sure. And at least they have the real information. And when they're ready to transact, we have actual teams of experts in place that can actually hold people's hands and show them how these strategies can work without a pressure to transact. But most do, because a confused mind doesn't act.
Right.
Some people get out the information, but if they don't know how to use it, they're not going to do anything with it. So we really just want to empower, educate, give them the clarity and that they need to move forward.
So you have a couple investment models that you use. Give us a couple of those for us to get a better idea of how your consulting business works.
Oh, thank you for asking. That's a great question. So what we build out as experts is we figure out how people can build wealth. We've done this throughout Canada. We've done this throughout the US. We do this throughout Australia. So everyone has each market has a different type of model. Normal real estate education shows you how real estate works. That's great. But you have to know how to take these technicalities and create great deals. So, for example, one amazing real estate model is flipping homes. And I know you like to
I
flip
do.
homes, which is so exciting.
Yes.
So the first step, are you in a flip market is the first question you need to ask yourself. Or if you want to flip homes, and flipping homes is great for people who need to make more money. 80% of American people do not make enough money. And it's something that we have to address. People need to learn to make more money. They need to learn to create these residual streams of income. Flipping homes could be fantastic for that. If people could figure out how you could flip 4 homes a year, just one every quarter, in that 12-week time frame, and profit $25,000, that's an extra $100,000 in people's pockets. And we do have these systems and strategies to show people how to do this. But the first thing is you got to get the right market. Where I live right now, flipped a home 2 years ago. It was a miracle. But right now, there's no homes in this flip market. And people get frustrated. Why can't I get a flip home? It's no money. You're not in the right market. So first thing you need to do is identify a flip market. Where can you still get properties that is not just land value? They actually put some, notice in those improvements for those homes. And you can get those margins. There's still a need for housing. There's still growth in that area. Where can you get that? How are you going to get these homes? What agent can you work with that's boots on the ground to be looking for these homes? Because they know what this model is. They know they want to have a flip they can complete in 12 weeks, $25,000 profit margin in an area that they're not going to be overpaying. They also know what that price is. So imagine you are in California, like LA, there may be no great deals there, but where you're located, Jen, you come along in North Carolina and say, look, you can get properties here for this amount of price and just put this amount in, and your profit margin is going to be this, and we have these offers and you're ready to transact. What's stopping you from flipping homes?
Amen. Let me get a cha-ching for that one. Definitely.
I love that. And the same thing with buy, rent, hold. That's another great model. Are you someone who's really, really does not have any money saved for retirement? Like, that's pretty scary. What are we retiring on here? Most Americans and Canadians do not have adequate retirement savings. And the way things are changing, the savings vehicles people are using, it's not working. How could people use real estate to do that? One buy, rent, hold property. If you got a house at $375,000 and all you did for 25 years, let's pretend you're 40, you got a property, $375,000. All you do for 25 years is pay off this property. Let's not even look at the cash flow this property's bringing in. Who cares? And it's appreciating at 5% every year. Forget these bogus 28, 30, whatever percent. Just look at the very simple math. You'll see 25 years just simply paying your mortgage, your $375,000 home is now going to be worth $1.25 million.
Yep.
So you tell me what other vehicle can accelerate and provide you with that security. You get two of them, you have $2.5 million. Put your personal residence in there, you're at $3 million. You're a multi-millionaire. Now, this is something that people can actually work with. And then some people don't want real estate at all. They just do not want to do the work. And there's a lot of passive investment models where people could do that. People could self-direct their IRAs. They can really get better returns and invest in opportunities that they can understand and that they can pick. And they could do this for all their cash as well as the registered funds, or even joint venture in some of the higher growth real estate models so they can continue living their life, working their jobs with their family while someone else is doing all the work.
Right. Talk a little bit more about the JV model, because I don't do JVs. I have my business partner, which is my fabulous husband, and we balance each other very well. We're researching private money lenders, but there are people out there who are just starting out who don't have the funds, who don't have the credibility to start borrowing other people's money through their self-directed IRA, as you said. So talk a little bit more about this JV model and how it can help the passive investor and then also maybe the new person starting out.
That's amazing. Thanks for asking that. And it's amazing that you're doing your business with your husband. So
yes.
We're very similar.
He's very lucky.
I do love the JV model for two different kinds of people.
And by the way, sorry, JV stands for joint venture. I guess we should explain that to the listeners, but continue.
So joint venture, where two people are joining together as partners to acquire real estate in the pursuit of growth. So Jen, you mentioned that you do this with your husband. You don't know much about JVs. My recommendation to you would be, if you and your husband are looking to build out your real estate business beyond just your own means. So let's pretend you guys are flipping homes and you're doing all this great stuff. You do it on your own. That's fantastic. You could have your 4 a year. You're making six figures. Bob's your uncle, right? You have time with your family, with your kids, with your friends, your pursuits. That's great. But let's pretend you really wanted to start building up your real estate business as well and really wanted to scale this. Joint ventures is great when an active, experienced person like yourself, who has really kind of perfected their real estate model. And we teach people how to be JVs, and we teach people how to perfect their model and prove as a proof of concept. At that point, you really should not be investing your own money and your own thing. You could be getting other people's money, growing their money for them. So you, as the active investor and the operating partner, manage the investment. You get a portion for that. And your passive partner, like say it was me, I'm all the way here in Toronto. I don't want to go to North Carolina. I know what amount of money I need to get Jen and her husband, and they're going to grow my money for a specific percent as a partner. And I don't do anything. I could just sit here and be on more badass podcasts all day long. So that's the beauty of JVs, is it really allows people who are building their real estate business to kind of take that to the next level and start taking on partners. Because a lot of people are doing apartment syndications. They might be doing land developments. They might creating a fund. These are different types of more complex JVs. Other people just want to do buy, rent, holds. And they're slowly buying these properties with other people and really doing the hard work. Now, the passive investor just has more control over their investment, and they get to participate without having to have that knowledge, that time, and that energy, and they can just live their life. A lot of people think JVs are for people with no money, and I really discourage people
who don't
have money to start out as JV partners. I think it's dangerous. Number one, lawsuits are between JVs. So I have some amazing students, and one of them is like 19. Would you believe it? He's great. Of course, he doesn't have money. He's a kid, but he is full of life and energy, and he wants to be a house flipper. And we've been working with him. And guess who his JV partner is?
Who?
His parents.
Nice.
And so I always say, unless it's someone who knows you, loves you, trusts you, believe in you, whatever, immediate family, they're not going to sue you. At least they know you're working with a coach who is monitoring you and advising you kind of what to do and monitoring your project and giving you that advice. You got to be real with people. But I'm also encouraging him to document his projects. We all start off somewhere. So maybe you start off with mom and dad or your sister, your uncle, whatever. Somebody knows you, loves you, and you document it. But you got to learn the skills. You have to learn the systems. This is numbers, systems, results. And as you document it and you show other people what you're doing, you can document through social media, you can create your JV packages, you can just talk to other people and show them what you're doing. People will want to start joining you. Once they see your results and I make you successful, they're going to want to start joining you. But it's not a good idea if you have no money knowledge to take other people on this rodeo with you.
Right.
Especially if you're not having the help or coaching that really is required.
So what's the main difference between JVing and working with a private money lender?
So the private money lender in that case is just you and the private money lender, basically. So you're basically getting what, like 8, 9%, 12% interest and returning there. You're right, because in JVs, sometimes you can be splitting a 50-50 split.
Of the profits at the end.
Absolutely, absolutely. But also depends on what you want to do with your flip. So let's pretend you were scaling your flip business too, and you didn't just have 1 or 2 flips going on at the same time with your husband anymore. You had your own personal projects, because we always do, right? So you have your, say, 4 a year with you and hubby. But at the end of the time, you've created your contracting operational real estate company, and your realtors and teams have located multiple flips, and you might have 5 or 6 flips going on at the same time. It's going to be difficult to secure all that money, do all that transaction with those money partners when you can just get your own money partners to really scale and build out your business. So it's kind of like for people who want to build their real estate business. With what you and your husband are doing, I think it's amazing. If you're doing it with just yourself and you're keeping it small with the money partners, people could do that as well. Real estate does not always have to be the business. It could be to achieve your own personal goals and more of a DIY kind of approach there.
Gotcha. So with JVing, why I have been afraid of it, honestly, and you're starting to pique my interest, so I do appreciate this. I am afraid of losing control of the project. So I make all the decisions on the tile, the finishes, everything. If we're going to move a wall, if we're doing those things. So how much say does the JV partner have in all of that?
None.
Oh.
You're the operating partner.
Okay.
They're following your model. So they don't know. They're just making their decision based on your past projects and your past performance. So I am numbers girl all the way. Like I tell people, you need to know your ROI like you know your phone number. You know, you need to talk to people like, yeah, we're going to pick up this house in Philadelphia. It's going to be $150,000. The normal asking price for these homes is $200,000 in the area in the same conditions. We're making $50,000 when we buy. And the ARV for these homes is $500,000.
Wow.
And I'm just going to put, we're going to put $100,000 into this project. There's going to be nothing structural. It's just going to be, the place is in disrepair. We're just going to do X, Y, Z. And the comps are showing that we're going to sell it for this. And our return on investment is going to be at 75%. After everything's done, you're going to have $75,000 cash in your pocket after this is over. So you're really kind of selling them the exact system and the exact human. You are in control of your project. You cannot let other people be in control of your real estate projects. They don't know what you're doing. If you went to the doctor's office, are you going to, and you're on the surgery table and someone's removing your organs, are you going to give them advice on how to do that?
Unless they're going to take some cellulite out while they're in there. I will give that advice.
I'll join you at that appointment, Jen.
So the risk for the person with the money is that you're trusting the investor to know what they're doing and all of that. And at the end, they're splitting it. So there's a risk there. Is that correct?
People who are going forward and growing your money, you all need to wake up and figure out where you're growing your money. So let's take a good look at where you're growing your money now. Look at your registered funds and look at your kids' savings for education. Look at your own portfolio in your bank account. Look at your own retirement savings and see where is your money now, what's it growing at, okay? And unless you are an active day trader, you have this finance background, you're already investing in real estate, you're going to see that your money is eroding. So what you're doing right now is already risky for anyone who thinks it's risky. But you got to face the facts, people. Like, do your numbers. I want you to all pull out 5 years worth of financial statements wherever you're growing, and I want you to average out those returns. And you'll be lucky if you're at 5%. Now, that's okay. 5% is not a horrible return. But when you minus your management expense ratios, which is about 2.5%, and then minus inflation, 1.75% is actually going up now because of the pandemic, closer to 2. You're growing your money at almost 0.
Yep. You could be losing money.
The number one risk is you're losing money.
Yep.
Like, your money has no value until you put it into action. So let's face facts and let's wake up and be real. Badass real. You're losers. You're losing money.
Yep.
So now let's look at real estate. You want to do something different. You are not expected to be like, okay, so I'm losing money at the bank. So now I'm just going to give it to Jen, cross my fingers, and hope that I'm going to make money. Yay me. No, that is not responsible. Even if you are a passive real estate partner, you got to know how it works. And it's not brain surgery. Have a general understanding of how things work. It's not just buy and selling homes. There are so many components about it. And there's so many deals out there too. You need to be able to vet good deals from bad deals in both passive and active investments. Real property investments, we have the number one top expert speakers that people in our group have access to grow their money, to invest in active real estate, to invest in projects. But everyone has access to the speakers and they're ready to answer your questions. You are able to vet their investment opportunities, such as, okay, so what track record does Jen have with, flipping homes here? What kind of returns am I going to get? Why is this a good area to get? Can I have a look at these comparables? Like, what has she done in the past? And from that, if you know what Jen's looking at, people, and seeing how she's doing, you're able to follow along with the conversation. You're not just going on a hope and prayer that you're going to get your money back. You're going to have confidence and confidently invest with Jen over and over and over again, because you know that you're not going to get a negative ROI. You're now getting a 20% ROI, but you're not being sold to. It's not someone who's just like, oh, join me on this opportunity, and you're just crossing your fingers and hoping it's going to work. You have to have a general understanding of how things work. Like, our members site is filled with real estate 101. What is ROI? What is cash flow? What's a good real estate area? What is a good deal? Good deal versus bad deal. And it doesn't have to be difficult, and doesn't have to be this is your full-time gig, but your money is your responsibility and you're in charge of growing your money. Anyone could be rich if they would just take finances, put them to the forefront, understand how it works. None of this, I don't understand money. Finance is overwhelming. It's scary. You got to learn, and it's not that difficult. Warren Buffett says a 4-year-old should be able to explain an investment with a crayon. If it's complicated, it's probably a scam.
I love it. So me as the investor who's doing the work, what are the positives for me to work with a JV partner? I am not going to be paying interest payments monthly to this person. Is that correct?
No. Okay, so usually the way we structure JVs, so let's pretend I was about to do a flip here, in the Toronto area. So I locate an opportunity, and I would suss out the opportunity. As the expert, I know how to buy this property for below fair market value. I have the contracting crew and the relationships. I know exactly, what it's going to cost. I have to monitor the budget, and I know what we could resell it for. And I've created all the shoulder areas in regards to, ranges. I think ranges are really important in flips because not everything always goes right. So I know how to account for error and put that into our numbers. And I present that to the investor, who then is responsible for funding the property, as well as funding the down payment and the repairs. So as they pay for everything, I manage the project and it goes all through tickety-boo. And at the end of it, when we get paid out, they get paid everything back. And then the profits are split 50-50. So they have done zero work.
So as I'm working on a project, all I do is say, okay, now we have the framers coming in and I'm going to need this amount to pay the framers.
No, they have all the money. Yeah, all the money is, all your costs are determined up front.
Correct.
No surprises.
But I'm just saying, like, as it's being...
You want to have all that money in a bank account or a line of credit that you all have access to, or whatever, that you are all, you don't need any questions. Like, oh, well, what is this framer? What framer did you use? Did you Frank the framer? I don't like Frank the framer. You don't want to hear this. Like, you're like, dude, this is the project. This is the scope. This is when we need these funds. And so with the framers and with all that sort of stuff, you can include your joint venture partners in that conversation with showing them a nice Excel spreadsheet of every single repair that's monitoring that shows that you're staying on budget. You review the quotes that you receive from the project, and you familiarize them with the funds and when the funds are going to be due. And this stops you from being tied up from every little thing.
That was where I was getting at. So I'm not, while they are paying for the whole process of the renovation, there are no interest payments that I'm making to borrow their money because they are a team member. So it's their money, it's going in, I am using their money to get the project complete. So me as the project manager, I'm not having to pay anything out of pocket.
You don't pay anything.
That's wonderful. Okay. Because that's where, sometimes when we borrow money, we have to pay interest from day one, even though we've only, if it's a $100,000 home and we're putting $50,000 into it, we're paying interest on $150,000 from day one, which is a lot of interest, even though we've only spent $105,000 because we've only done the foundation work, which has cost $5,000. So that, for our listeners, I think this is huge because it was a big light bulb for me. So I know there's a lot of people listening going, how do I get involved in this? So you are a consultant. Your company is, they do consulting for all this. Where are y'all located? Like, how can my listeners find out how to get involved in this? And we have people who listen who have buckets of money that don't want it sitting in a savings account. So those are the type of people that you work with. And you also work with people like me who flips houses. And is it the same thing there, or talk to me?
It's all about education.
You got me so excited. I got to hear everything. So keep going.
I love it. I love your enthusiasm, and I love helping people too. So everyone is learning at different learning curves. And what we created really is this platform, and we're doing everything online. So our reach really is unlimited. When Real Property Investments started out, we are actually an in-person club. It was so we could meet people. We actually wanted to get JVs. That's how it started. And then it turned out to see all these problems that people have, and we started solving people's problems. And then it turned out to be this education and empowerment in person right in Toronto. Then we started expanding throughout Ontario. And now that COVID hit, we went across Canada and the US. So we actually have different real property investment chapters all throughout Canada, as well as the US and Australia. And anyone could join these chapters. And when they join the Real Property Investments community, we have memberships starting as low as $25 a month. And it's the real information with these learning tools, tutorials, all of our event recordings, and everything online. So it doesn't matter where you live. You can simply log on and get information. You can go onto our members only site and type in house flipping, and up is going to pop up all these different house flipping tutorials, house flipping worksheets, documents that you could use. And we have that for all of our different strategies and all the different wealth building techniques, motivation techniques, mindset, anything you could think of in regards to building your wealth. We have hundreds of videos and information and learning tools that are here on the site. Now, a lot of people like to come to actual events. We have over 5 events a month, and because of COVID, everything is online. But we have the professionals and the groups of actual living, breathing human beings like yourself, Jen, who live all across the US. And we have turnkey sponsored clubs. So every investment area that we've identified as a high growth investment area, like say Atlanta, for example, that is a fantastic place to invest. We have a mortgage specialist in those areas, a private lender in those areas, a real estate specialist who's an agent who will actually show you the areas. And the models that we've identified there are for the buy, run, hold, as well as for the flip model. We have a lot of off-market properties there. We have property management for people who might be out of state. Maybe you're in LA, like I said before, or New York City, and you can't get these kind of returns. You don't have to not be able to have a team available for you in areas that have more of these high growth models. So all the professionals are actually living, breathing in these areas, ready to, I guess we can't shake hands anymore, but if you're really to get offline and actually go learn about real estate in person, we are able to accommodate that as well. So we want to be able to help everyone. Our information is applicable totally online, whether you're just an online member and getting the information and you're kind of at the DIYer, or if they wanted to do group coaching, that's all online. But when you're actually ready to act, we are able to introduce you to actual living, breathing human beings that will empower you. You can make your own decision, and then you can actually grow your money.
That's fantastic.
Information doesn't make you rich. It's the actual transaction. We are the most transactional club out there. Everyone who joins RP does something, because we take all those reasons away and we're real. We're like, guys, you're here. Do something.
That's great. That is great. So what is the best way for them to find you all? How do they become members of your club?
Well, we're actually having a free 30-day trial for the online members, so people can figure out who we are and what do we stand for. What's the quality of our club? I think people are going to be really amazed at the quality of speakers and experts and information given. They visit our website at realproperty-investments.com. You'll see a free 30-day trial pops up on the homepage, and people can click on that and try it out, or better yet, just go to the services and check out in detail what each one of these online membership, group coaching, events coaching, personal coaching, what these things offer, and sign up. A lot of people don't even bother doing the trial. They're like, I want to try it out. I want to sign up today. I know I have nothing to lose. And we've really made it so people do not have anything to lose.
I love it. That's great, because that's the biggest thing, is getting over the fear of getting involved. And you went through the steps yourself by making the mistakes, by being self-taught, and realized the importance of having a coach and having a system and working with experts. So that is fantastic. Before we go on to the second part of the podcast here, I shared a badassery bestowment at the beginning of the call. Do you have a badassery bestowment you would like to share with our listeners?
I loved your badassery bestowment. I think that is badass. Brilliant.
Thank you.
I would like to tell everyone, for my badassery bestowment here, is the best investment that you can make is to invest in yourself. Because the more you learn, the more you earn.
I love it. Love it. All right. So I always end the podcast with what makes you a badass, Monika. So the first letter in badass is B, and I want to know a book that has made a huge difference in your life.
I will have to tell you, once again, I know I kind of said the book already, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad, it's so basic, but it's just so amazing. And Robert Kiyosaki has just driven home the point that real estate does not need to be complicated. It doesn't have to be this complex Mensa strategic analysis book. Like, he did this, and he brought financial planning to layman's terms and really threw it a 180 on it, and it just changed my life. And I love the fact that that book changed others, and I'm looking to change everyone's life. We're in this to be game changers and to help everyone stop investing the traditional way, or some people aren't even doing that. They're not investing at all, and just really challenging everyone. Get off your butts.
Get
You
off
need
your
money.
butts.
Get
Yes.
off your butts. You need money. You're engaging in money every day. Anyways, this is your one life. Live it.
Yes. All right. So on that same avenue, we have the first A, which is advice. What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
The best advice that I ever received is invest in yourself. And always, so no matter what you guys are making right now, even if you haven't started investing yet, forget the traditional savings advice. Robert Kiyosaki says savers are losers. And that sounds so harsh, but it's true.
Nobody saves their way to wealth, ever.
No one has ever gotten rich saving.
Nope.
No one has ever gotten rich saving. You have to be a badass when it comes to investing. And you know what a badass does? They don't pay the hydro bill before they pay themselves.
Yep.
They don't pay their phone bill because everyone pays everyone else. And then what's left over, they invest in themselves. Pay yourself first. I don't care if you're before your rent, before your mortgage, before your groceries, pay yourself first. Pick a small percent, get yourself in that habit. You'll be amazed how that will start building up and it will change your mindset to start valuing you. And if you don't have enough money to pay yourself first, make more money.
Yes. I think that is some great advice right there. Pay yourself first. All right, the D in badass is drive. What drives you to be successful?
I am a naturally driven person.
I can tell.
I think everyone has to be a naturally driven person. I actually pulled up my mission statement from university in this amazing course that we did. It was this really strange course, but it was all in depth with work study. And it actually said my mission in life, my mission statement, even when I was like 19, was to live a life, to rise up and live a life above the norm. And so my number one fear is always going to be average. I am driven. I am here. Every day I wake up in the morning and I thank God for another day on this earth. This is not a given, people. This is it. This isn't a practice session. This is your life. Like, make the most of every day. And I want everyone to not be living their life for someone else. Live it for yourself. Just be your authentic self. And, you know, you have to have that drive. It's work to create your best life. So if you don't have that drive, ask yourself, what is it I really want to be doing? And I don't think people believe that they can have anything different. I think they believe that they're given the set of cards and that they're dealt with, and that's it.
Ugh.
Throw your flipping cards away, people.
Yes.
Make your own deck. If you want a whole full deck of queens, make that. Like, do your own thing.
So to stay above average, the second A in badass is aspiration. What are some goals you are working on right now?
My number one goal is to be a game changer in finance. And you know what? I'll tell you one thing. Like, a lot of people ask me this question. I'm on a lot of these different shows and stuff, and they ask, like, what is your bucket list? I don't have one because I'm doing it. My kid asked me the other day, one of them, how many famous people how many famous people have you meet to my dad? And he said, none. How many has mom met? You know, and it's just anyone I love and idolize, like Tony Robbins, Eckhart Tolle, Richard Branson, you know, anything that I'm looking up to. I've been meeting these people and corresponding and learning from them and stuff. So, you know, I've traveled the world. I lived in every ocean in the world. I've continuously made an investment to live my best life, you know, and make that a purpose. So it's like my real goal now is just, I'm doing really well on my own. I want to help everyone else. Like, I want to be of service to everyday people, and I want to just really encourage people to live their best life. And it's hard to do that without money, but it's just, like I said before, these little tidbits of advice can be game changers. That's what I love to do. I love to change lives by just offering some little out of the box thinking that people just can't come up with on their own.
So for our listeners who want to strive to be more like you by living their life to the fullest, what are some systems that you have in place?
Well, if you want to live your fullest life, you have to have the complete square of life. Okay. So it can't just be work. I know work. I love work. Like, I am a high achiever, and I'm an entrepreneur. I go work all day long, but that's not going to give you a life. That's what I did the first 3 years of real estate when I thought I was some big real estate guru, and just because I never couldn't believe the possibilities that were happening. And that was not healthy. So it's all about really time management and monitoring your energy levels as well. So I rise very early. And the first thing I always plan in my schedule is my kids, obviously, because I'm an active parent. So I put them in the calendar. So I have all my family. I work with my husband. So we have a lot of quality time there. Because what are we doing this for in the first place? And the second thing you guys need to get is your fitness. You need to have your health and fitness in there. What is it you guys love to do? What is the exercise? What foods are you eating? What kind of breathing are you doing? I am totally into the, 2 hours meditation a day, extensive reading, breathing exercises, cold showers, daily meditation, as well as fitness. This is really going to set your mindset up for success and get you the energies. I mean, I start at 5 a.m. and I usually go to midnight. Like, I don't stop. And my energy is always like this, peak, 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 peak. If I notice it going down, I can plan for it. So you have to be in peak performance. You got to take care of that aspect as well. And then the next thing I plan after that is my work. And I choose meaningful work, people. You don't have to do the jobs that you're currently doing. Get out of your box, break out of your shell, figure out what you want to be doing, and figure out how you can make money doing it. The only way that you can make money is doing something that you absolutely love. Jen, if you hated podcasting and hated real estate, I don't think you'd be doing it, would you?
Absolutely not.
But I mean, let's pretend you were go back 10 years and say you're working at Wendy's or something like that, right? Mm-hmm. Or what is that, White Castle you guys going? You're a White Castle worker and it sucks you ain't working at White Castle, but that's what you're doing. And you decide you want more. What's stopping you from getting a podcast and learning real estate on the side? What's stopping you from breaking out of that box? What's stopping you from, recreating these same family cycles? You guys could do that. But you have to have something you love and that you're genuinely interested in. So that's the third part of the square is the wealth. And so the first is love and connection. The second I said was fitness. The third is the wealth. And then the last one is growth. You always have to be growing. Have a time to look at yourself. Look yourself in the mirror. And can everyone just please give themselves a huge hug? Forgive themselves for whatever bad crap you talk about yourself every day. Just love yourself. Love everyone, stay in the present moment, and just trust, that everything is going to work out. You can change your life. You can change your destiny. You can be a badass.
I believe that 1,000%. So the final S is success. What does success mean to you?
Success means that you are living what you stand for. Like, you are who you stand for. Now, I remember this one person just asked one of these other mentors, what is success? Did you think this guy's successful because he had a Lamborghini and a jet and all this stuff? And the actual coach says, I actually didn't see someone successful because I don't know anything about his situation. I just saw at that point, it was someone with a lot of stuff. So success is not about having a lot of stuff. It's at what point did you reach in your life? How true are you to yourself? And are you living your best life? Are you comfortable doing it? With wealth building, you don't have to have lots of stuff and lots of expensive things. Robert Kiyosaki would be the first person to say, middle class owns things. It's the rich people don't own anything. Because when your stuff starts owning you, then you're in trouble.
Yes.
Money is an excellent servant, but it's a horrible master. So it's not about having stuff. It's just about be true to yourself. Figure out what kind of life, what do you stand for? If you don't stand for anything, you're going to fall for everything. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are you going to do? If this is your last day on earth, how would you want to feel? Who would you want to be with? What would you want to be doing? Figure that out and just don't settle for anything less. And if you could figure that out and make a living doing that, you are a successful person. And obviously giving back, sharing it with others as the last key point of success is sharing.
Well, you have been a true inspiration, Monika. I am so happy that our paths crossed and I got to do this interview. So tell our listeners one more time how they can find you. What's the website?
realproperty-investments.com. And I'm very Googleable if you Google Monika Jazyk. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, as well as check out our YouTube channel, Real Property Investment.
So you're going to give me all these links. I'm going to put them in the show notes. Will that work?
Yes.
Perfect. And Monika is spelled Monika Jazyk. That's a very Irish name, isn't it?
I'm actually Lithuanian.
Just
the Jazyk actually.
Jazyk.
Well, but my mother, who had some Irish in her, she would have been very happy to hear that. So.
Well, I thank you so very much, and that is all. Thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next episode. Now go out there and share your badassery, and don't forget, make it a great day. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoop whoop.
Thank you for listening to RAIN, the Real Estate Investor Growth Network. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. If you need more badassery, you can follow Jen Josie by visiting therealjenjosie.com or become a member of RAIN by registering on rainmastermind.com.